Lions, tigers, and bears. What do you think of when you hear those three names together? I would wager most people would think of the song from The Wizard of Oz. Some might even associate it with what they see at the zoo. However, if you lived in Zanesville, Ohio on October 2011, you might associate it with something completely different. Hey everyone, Justin with the Podcast Dojo. Today I want to tackle an unsolved mystery. This is actually a video I've wanted to cover for a very long time, and I just never knew how to do it. But before we begin, let me add a disclaimer. The information in this video might be disturbing. If you do not wish to continue, I totally understand. We have many other videos here that I bet would be interesting to you. But if you are feeling brave, let's begin. The story we are covering today I first heard about on Animal Planet, on the show Fatal Attractions. Fatal Attractions is a show about people who own exotic and dangerous animals. I do want to talk more about the episode in question, but before that, let's go to the very beginning. Let's start with Terry Thompson, who is a person of interest in this video. Terry was a Vietnam War veteran who was drafted at the time of the war. However, when he returned from the war, he was not the same person. He had a lot of trouble trying to adjust to his life back home. Terry had always lived on the edge. He even received a pilot's license before his driver's license. From the information that I found, Terry and his wife first purchased a lion cub in 1997. Before long, Terry and his wife had a collection of exotic animals in their backyard. Things started to look bad for Terry when he was arrested and sent to prison for possession of illegal firearms. Terry's wife was left to care for the animals, but it was a lot of work as expected. After his 1-year prison sentence was up, Terry returned home and claimed his wife sent him a letter telling him that she had had an affair. Keeping up with so many exotic animals was expensive and left him with tens of thousands of dollars in debt and unpaid taxes. The animal cages were also in poor condition, and this wasn't the first time Terry got himself in hot water for the condition of the animals. In 2005, he was charged with neglect after a buffalo died on his property. This is where things start to take a dark turn. In October of 2011, Terry took his own life and released his exotic animals. Or at least that is what most news sites in the episode of Fatal Attractions told me. However, as I dug more into the story, there's some evidence that makes me think otherwise. Let me tell the rest of the story, of course, before I dig into some evidence. Strange 911 calls were coming in about exotic animals roaming the freeways and the streets. All available police officers were dispatched to take care of the animals. Among the animals to have escaped were 18 Bengal tigers, 17 lions, 6 black bears, 2 grizzly bears, 3 mountain lions, 2 wolves, and 1 baboon. The officers even had to use infrared scopes at night to continue the hunt. Now, not all of the animals were hunted. Back at Terry's place, cages were open. However, there remained 3 leopards, 2 monkeys, and a grizzly bear. All of those animals were tranquilized and would remain at the Columbus Zoo. Here is the evidence that is the mystery part of the story. So Terry's body was found on a horse trail, which is a place he never went to. The gun found near Terry's body was not only 17 feet away, but was registered to one of the county deputies. Gun residue was found on Terry's left hand, however Terry was right-handed. When Terry was found, a tiger was also guarding him, but there was no sign that Terry's body had been dragged. So what do you think? Do you think Terry took his own life? Or was this the work of someone else? At first hearing of the story, I thought, hey, why wouldn't he have done this? However, after further examination of the story, I feel it is quite possible somebody else killed Terry. Sure, Terry had all the reasons in the world to feel his life was over, with the failing marriage and the debt piling high, but I do not think he would do this to himself. For one, I feel to release all the different kinds of animals at the same time, they would have killed him right there. Especially since they were living in poor conditions, I feel that would have made the animals even more hostile once released. I believe that Terry loved his animals, and that if he let them out, they would have wreaked havoc and have been killed for sure. I'll give you an example using another episode of Fatal Attractions. There was an episode about a woman living in a trailer with her venomous snakes. She was found killed in her trailer after she was bitten by her gaboon viper. It was heavily speculated that she did not seek help out of fear her animals would be killed by law enforcement. I feel that Terry would have never set his animals free knowing they would be killed if free. While you could argue that if he loved them, he would have kept them in much better conditions, and well, I agree with that too. A pet, whether exotic or domestic, is still a responsibility, and I think some people get addicted to obtaining more animals and they get in over their head. You should never buy animals if you can't take care of them. If Terry was trying to prove a point by killing himself and spreading chaos, why only release some of the animals and not all of them? Especially since the leopards were the most aggressive of the cats. Thankfully, there were no casualties aside from Terry in this tragedy. While Terry, I feel, made some very poor decisions in his life, I do not think he would release his animals so that they could hurt a ton of people in the area. There's a video by someone else who was present during all of this, and they have some inside theories and information, so I'm going to leave a link and annotations to that video at the end. Since this incident, exotic animals in Ohio must be registered, and there are regulations for how they are caged. There are also no longer exotic animal auctions allowed in the state either. So what do you guys think about this? Please comment below and let's get this discussion going. I especially want to hear from you people who were in Zanesville during the day of the incident.